The biggest attraction is that you see the world for free, number one. Number two, you get paid an excellent salary. And number three, it's very educative. You learn a lot. You meet people from different customs and different religions, different languages, and you see the world, which you could only have access perhaps in photographs or pictures and movies. I was born in India and then raised in Pakistan, Kranjc. My dad was in the Royal Indian Air Force and he was later with the Royal Pakistan Air Force and he was posted to London. And then, of course, when we came back to Pakistan, I did my high school in Karachi and thereafter I joined the Pakistan Air Force. Graduated as a military pilot. My dad, he was a big influence on me, to join the Air Force. To become a pilot, in the Pakistan Air Force, you really had to be outstanding in studies and in school. Then after 2 years, finally you get the big wing on your chest, which I got from, in those days, the President of Pakistan, Field Marshal Ayub Khan. Our neighbor India, attacked Pakistan in September of 1965. Even though I was born there, we take the oath when we are being commissioned that we will go wherever ordered by land, air or sea. So it was part of our duty, if we had to go and bomb India, we would do it. Served the Air Force for 3 years and thereafter I switched my career. Basically because I knew I wouldn't become a general. So I quit and no regrets when I joined the airline, because in 37 years of service with the airline, I managed to go up to the topmost position, which is the 747 captain. I used to see the airline pilots, when we were flying in and out of Karachi. They can fly around the world and get more money and have a relaxed flying atmosphere in the cockpit. That really attracted me. My first marriage was an arranged marriage. My dad and her dad were in the Air Force. And then when I joined the Air Force, she obviously agreed to her parents' wishes that, okay, I'll get married to him. We never met before we were married. We just saw each other, but never really had a date. It was strictly an arranged marriage and we were very successful.
Migration, obviously for a lot of people, one is economic advancement or professional advancement, right? So if you're, for example, someone with a university education from India, you can typically make a lot more money in the United States than you can in India.
I took the decision that, look, let's move to the United States in the interest of our daughter's education and better standard of life. When I came here, my brother-in-law sponsored us. We applied for the immigration status back in 1985 and we eventually got it in 1995, 10 years later. We were the lucky ones, the baby boomers of just after the Second World War. And, in those days, the United States were very liberal in their immigration policies. We knew that, eventually it's going to come, and the timing was right because my twin daughters had just finished their high school in Pakistan. And my elder daughter was already here in 93, she joined NYU. So when I decided to move here, I bought this apartment
in 1995, and then moved my twin daughters here, and then went into college in Fashion Institute of Technology. So it worked out very well. I worked for PIA, and after that I worked for Emirates Airlines, Saudia Airlines, TAG Airlines, and of course Northeast Airlines based here in New York.
I didn't look anymore after that. I turned and I started to run. Well, didn't
Not
stop
to
to
be
look
so
behind.
sick that I couldn't breathe at all.
I had a couple of incidents. We took off from JFK with the President of Pakistan on board, General Pervez Musharraf. After takeoff, about maybe 11 or 12 minutes later, we got a call from the ATC, Air Traffic Control Tower. They said, "We've just received a telephone call that there's a bomb on your flight. So what are your actions and your intentions?" So we immediately said, "Stand by." We went through the checklist, took all the actions, to make ourselves safe, and we decided that we have to return and land at JFK. We were greeted with the NYPD and all kinds of agencies. We landed, and then they searched the airplane, found nothing.
This happened in September of 2000. 9/11 took place in 2001. Immediately after 9/11, all airliners were required to have a mandatory bulletproof door. The psychological analysis of pilots joining the airlines, that has become very, very strict and stringent. So also the flight attendants, so that it has become a little more safer from that point of view.
So the apparatus of exclusion, control, policing is growing, right? And as such, I think it's going to be much more difficult for people trying to immigrate to the United States, particularly without authorization. And then, of course, there are those people who come from, countries that are defined as potentially threatening.
One of the subtle goals of U.S. policy on immigration is to discourage people from coming and staying, right? So I think this is the goal of many people in Congress right now. To the extent that people are here, we want to make them feel uncomfortable, and we want to make them feel like what's the terrible term that was used, self-deport. And so they throw up lots of bureaucratic hurdles.
I'm semi-retired. I still work for Northeast Airlines, preparing a lot of documents, because we're in the process of buying newer airplanes. I keep my license valid, so whenever we get this airline started up, then I'll start flying again. Every career, has obviously a ladder that you have to climb up and eventually end up at the pinnacle. And once you achieve that, you have a lot of sense of satisfaction, and at the same time then you go home, with a good handsome package. Like I did, when I retired, I got $240,000. So I bought this apartment and I paid off the mortgage. People, after their education, if they don't have the immigrant status, then obviously they have to leave the country. Since we got the green card and then eventually the citizenship, the girls thought that, might as well continue living here. And that's how they met their future husband, got married. My late wife, she did this painting, and also on the closet. She died in 2012. It had, an impact on the whole family, especially me, And I was devastated, and I just couldn't believe it. It was unbelievable, that she would have lymphoma cancer. She being so fit, she was hardly 60, and she had cancer, and she had never fallen sick in her life. The doctors here, in the best hospitals, they tried to save her life, and they just couldn't. And then, obviously, I had to accept it. It's God's will. God bless her, she was a very loving wife and a mother and a grandmother. Every year we go to her grave in Long Island. That's all we can do, just pray for her. Took me about at least a year, before I recovered, and I was able to, stand on my feet again and accept that this had to happen. And then, obviously, life has to continue. Three years later, I met my current wife, Jasna, in a clinic. I had gone there for my medical checkup to renew my pilot's license. And she had gone there to have her medical checkup for joining the college. A couple of days later, I proposed to her, and 3 months later, we got married.
Wait, did you just say a couple of days later you proposed to her?
Sorry?
Did you say days later you proposed to her?
I proposed to her, yeah.
Days later?
Yeah. Just 3 days later.
3 days later? Wow.
She didn't say yes immediately, but took her 3 months to say yes. And the next day, which was a Friday after Thanksgiving, she came to the city and we went straight to the marriage bureau and got married. Jasna also was, she wanted to get married and settle down. She'd been, at that time when I met her, she had been divorced only for about 8 or 9 months. And when she came to the US, it was on August the 7th, and I met her on August the 28th. We just clicked, and our chemistries, were both identical. We were very lucky to have met each other and eventually got married, and we're very happy. So I, manage the household, do the grocery shopping, cooking. That is a hobby of mine. I love to cook. And of course, she manages dusting and cleaning and laundry. So on the weekends, Saturday, Sunday, then we just devote our time to the apartment. Now that I'm retired and not flying much, but just doing desk job, not only do I miss flying around the world, at the same time I also miss the wonderful crew and my colleagues that we used to fly with. Living here in New York, I learn a lot. I, still in touch with aviation and the airline business. It's in your blood. When you retire or you're in service, it's forever. Once a pilot, always a pilot. Thank you.